Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into pageants. My guests today are Vanessa Oriolo, and she is Miss New Jersey USA 2015, and Caleigh Shade, and she is Miss Maryland Teen USA 2018. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so usually I start my guests where they went to college. So where are you going and have gone to college?
So I graduated from Temple University back in 2015.
Okay, and yourself?
And I'm a freshman currently at Salisbury University.
Great. So let's just go back into high school. When did it all start that you thought about going to college? Was it freshman year, senior year? How did it all begin for you guys?
I think that I always knew that I wanted to go to college. So probably, freshman year, you obviously know in the back of your head that you want to get the best grades possible because you are going to be applying to colleges. So I think that I've always kind of had it in the back of my head.
And yourself?
I think I never realized it was coming so fast until my sophomore year, and then I grew really passionate about politics and the government, how the government works. So I realized what I wanted to do, and then I realized where I wanted to go to college.
Gotcha. So now, how did you pick the schools? Did you have many schools? Was there a path that you took to get to those particular universities? What was the path that you took for yourself?
So I think first of all, I wanted to go somewhere that was super affordable for me personally. I've always wanted to go to law school, so I wanted to go somewhere where I could go get my undergraduate and then go to law school. So I was looking at UPenn and Salisbury, so I ended up going to Salisbury.
Great. And yourself?
I applied to a few different schools. I knew that I wanted to not be too far away from home, but still far enough away to get the experience of experiencing a different place. And I knew I wanted to go to business school because I really think that a business foundation is so important to have. And I knew that Temple University had a great business school, so when I got accepted, I kind of just knew that that's where I wanted to go.
Great. So now let's get into pageants. When did it all begin for you guys? Was it when you're little toddlers, 5 days ago? How did it all begin?
So I actually started in high school. I think I was a junior. And I always watched Miss USA and Miss Universe. I always looked up to them. I'm like, they're just like these cool people, and like they all have these passions and these careers, and they're just amazing women that I always looked up to it, and I always wanted to get involved. Didn't really look too much into it though, and then I found a Facebook ad actually, and I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, this is the New Jersey to get to Miss USA to then get to Miss Universe, and so I just signed up, and I was addicted.
So I was actually volunteering in my community when I was 14, I think, and I met a local pageant director, and she saw me and instantly knew that I would be, I guess, good at them, if you can be good at them. So she convinced me to compete, and I competed for a couple years, and then I never really committed to it fully. I just did it for the community service aspect until this year when I won Miss Maryland Teen USA.
Wow. So what's involved in being in the pageant? What do you have to go through to get there?
So you sign up, and then they send you a contestant packet after you do an interview. So you do a phone interview with someone in the organization, and they talk about like your goals, your dreams, what you want out of the whole experience, because honestly, the experience is what you make of it. So if you go into it thinking, I want to get the most scholarship possible, that's completely awesome for you. And then you can go into it thinking, I want to win. And it's really whatever the girl wants to get out of it.
Yeah, so you, like she said, you have a phone interview, and then you submit like a headshot, and then you get all this paperwork you have to fill out that, the MC is going to talk about you while you're on stage. You fill out an interview form, which is what the judges interview you from. So the breakdown, I guess, of our pageants is we sit down with a panel. It's between like 5 and 7 judges. It's a closed interview behind closed doors. And so it's you and 7 other people, and it's really just a conversation. They're not interrogating you. People get really nervous. It's actually a lot of fun. And then the next day you have the onstage portion. So we go through swimsuit, and for the teens they do athletic wear, and then we walk in our evening gowns, and then the top 5 contestants will then answer an onstage question. That's totally random. It could be anything that they want to ask you, and then they pick a winner.
And that happens year after year after year,
Every year,
and
yes.
you can continue to keep doing it as early as so people can start earlier than 14, or Does
So
everyone usually start in that age bracket?
you really can just start whenever. This was my first year competing, and I was 18, and I actually won. It was my last year eligible. So the teens are 14 to 18, and then the Miss are 19 to
28 now. They actually just extended it. It used to be 26.
28.
Wow. So year after year, you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
You can do it as long as you don't win. So you can keep competing. So if you win the teen title, then you can come back and compete for the Miss title.
Gotcha.
But once you win either title, then you can't come back and recompete for it. So I personally have competed 5 times before winning a title.
Wow.
I competed for teen twice and Miss 3 times.
Gotcha. So you can continue to compete until you stay in that age bracket, and then you can move up to the next age
Yes.
bracket. Gotcha. So what happens when you're there? Are they located in different locations? How do you get there?
So for the Maryland pageant, personally, it's a hotel, and it's pretty central to Maryland. It's kind of in the middle, and I think it's easier for everyone to get to it. It's an awesome hotel. It's so nice. The food is great, which is really what's important. And the weekend is just so much fun. And that's the thing that I realized during the weekend while I was competing. I was like, yeah, I want the title, but I'm having the time of my life and meeting all these girls from all these different backgrounds, and they're all wonderful people. So you have so much fun anyway, no matter what you get out of it.
Yeah, so in New Jersey, it's similar to Maryland. I think all of the state pageants are sort of similar in the Miss USA system. They're at a hotel, all the girls come. It's kind of, they pick like a spot that they seem like can get everyone to sort of in a convenient way.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone has a roommate, and it kind of just, you show up, you do your interviews, and then you go right into rehearsals. And so everyone gets to meet everybody. Everyone either doesn't know anyone, or people know each other because they've competed so many times and have friends that you might not necessarily see other than when you come to the pageant, which is awesome because I have so many friends. I actually just went to someone's wedding that I met at my first pageant.
Wow.
So it's a lot of fun. Like, you get to eat. That's a lot of fun. We have like a dinner dance party. That's a lot of fun. So like she said, like, you get so much out of it other than just, winning or losing. Like, everyone says, didn't you get tired of losing? You lost 4 times. And not really, because I never minded to lose. It's what you get out of the whole experience. You learn so much and you grow so much as a person, and it really is beneficial to you as a person in the real world, other than just pageantry. So every year you're a better version of yourself than you were last year. So if you happen to be what they're looking for that year and they think you're great to hold this title, which is such an honor, then that's awesome. But if not, then you get so much else out of it too, so it doesn't really matter.
So now everyone that's usually at the pageants, are most of the girls' mindsets, I'm going to college?
I would say so, yeah. I
Yeah.
think everyone that applies is generally goal-minded, and whether your goal is to go to college, go to cosmetology school, or just continue being the best version of you possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what the pageant is it empowers young women to be the best version of themselves.
I think a lot of people, like she said, have so many goals. Like, you meet these girls and everyone has like these extraordinary like ambitions, and it inspires you to like want more for yourself, which is great. And I think that a lot of people seek education and think that it's very important. I think that's a very common question, actually, if they ask in pageants, do you think higher education is important? I don't think I've ever really heard someone say no to that question.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is important, and pageants actually help you thrive in the education world too. So it ends up helping out all around.
So now, after you win a pageant, what's the year like? What are you doing that whole year?
So the majority of my year so far has been community service based, which is my favorite thing in the world, and that's what I love doing pageants, and that's what really got me into them in the first place. So I travel all across Maryland, New Jersey, Delaware. I'm kind of everywhere, and I volunteer at different events, and I also represent the Miss USA platform, which is Best Buddies.
Yeah, that's a huge part of doing this. So we get to, this sash is like our key to getting into charities. Like, it's what you do with it. So it's not about just like looking pretty and like standing there and taking pictures with people, other than the fact that that really does make some people's day, which is awesome, because it's just, you're just there and you make someone's day, which is like my favorite thing. Like, seeing little kids be so excited to see us is just like, because they don't care what you look like. They don't care what you're wearing. They don't care how your makeup looks. They are just excited to meet you. My favorite part when I was Miss New Jersey back in 2015 was going to visit children in the hospital. I would sit with them, play with them, bring them candy. So a huge part of our role, but another huge part of our role is to represent our states at the national pageant. So, Caleigh is going to go represent Maryland at the Miss Teen USA pageant coming up. I represented New Jersey at Miss USA. And then whoever wins Miss USA actually gets to represent USA at Miss Universe. So it's a huge opportunity for people to network, to meet different people, to make friends that they're going to have forever. And then you do make so many connections at different appearances. You meet people that you never really thought you would meet before. So overall, it's just a really, really great experience.
So now, what did you study in college, and what are you studying in college, and what are you doing now?
So I'm double majoring in communications and political science, and then I am planning on going to do a 3-year program and get my law degree and a master's in public policy. At 17, mostly because of pageants, I've met so many people. At 17, I can't believe I even can say this. I ran a regional campaign by myself.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was running for congressman, which was the most fun I've ever had. I had my own office. It was so cool. So I think pageants leading me to meet those people and do those things really helped me pursue what I want to do.
That's awesome. Congratulations. So I actually graduated with a business degree from Temple, and through pageantry, actually, while I was getting ready for Miss USA, I was getting on a skincare regimen, and I went to visit a local plastic surgery office. They are really big into skincare, so I went to see one of their estheticians there, and I actually ended up meeting the surgeon that day. He was there in the hallway. He's like, "Oh, how are you?" I had my sash with me, so it kind of, like she said, people like stop you because of your sash or interested in talking to you because of the sash, but you get so much out of that initial contact. And he, just out of the 5 minutes of talking to me, was like, "You belong in the medical field." And I was like, "That's crazy. I'm going to take my business degree. I want to go work in fashion. I'm graduating in a year. I'm done. Like, this is what I want to do." And he's like, "Come shadow me. What's the worst thing that can happen? You lose a day." So I'm like, "Well, that's true. I never want to shut down an opportunity." So I took his advice and I went to shadow him for a day, and I fell in love with medicine. So now I actually, 2 years later, I've been working for him for 2 years as a medical assistant, and I'm applying to physician schools, like to be a PA to get my master's. So I never thought that I would be looking into getting my master's, but here I am going through the application process.
Great. So most pageant winners and people in the pageants, some of the fields are communication, becoming a lawyer, and medicine and things of that sort. Do you see that continuing with all of the other contestants that are coming in?
I think so. Pageants give you the best opportunity to public speak as much as possible. And that's really what helped me become such a well-spoken girl. And I think that's what helped me get into college and meet people and have people really find out who I am, is through pageants. I just, in the interview process, speaking to other contestants, speaking on stage, it really helps you with your public speaking, which is a huge part of getting older and becoming an adult.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, just having to sit through a panel interview like freaks people out, and it's really awesome to be able to sit there and have a conversation that's 1 against 7 and have a good time. I love interview, and I think that it's the same thing when you're entering for school, to go to college, to get into law school, medical school, just undergrad too. It's a huge bonus to have that life skill to be able to interact. I think a lot of people, especially the younger generations now, are so used to talking behind computer screens and their phones that they don't really know how to communicate anymore. Yeah. And it's sad, like people don't want to pick up the phone and have a conversation anymore. So pageantry kind of forces you, like she said, to public speak, talk to large groups of people, talk to little kids, and you talk to all different ages, which is also great. You talk to older people, younger people, whether you're being interviewed or not. So it gives you those skills that you really can carry with you throughout your life.
Now, what are some of the benefits of being in a pageant? Does Miss USA give you any benefits to being part of the pageants?
So Miss USA and Miss Teen USA are very, very particular roles. We call them jobs. They're a job. Like, you are competing essentially in a pageant, but you're applying for a job. So you're signing up for a year of, representing the whole country, and you are going to appearances, like she said, and, representing the platforms that we back up. And you can really, it's awesome because the Miss Universe organization allows you to support so many different causes and not just pick one. And so they give you a schedule. You have to kind of stick to their schedule, but you have all these people helping you as a whole team. So you're just trying to make the country, I guess, a better place, essentially, with your title, and you're trying to do something with that.
And each girl has a personal platform. So every state, local, and national contestant has a personal cause that's close to their heart and that they represent. So that's a lot of what your interview is, just talking about what your particular personal cause is.
So now, does it take up a lot of time to be in pageants compared to schoolwork that you would be doing?
So I have actually learned a lot this year being Miss Maryland Teen USA, because it was my freshman year. So it was like October of my freshman year. So I just got into college, just got adjusted. My college is actually 5 hours away from where I live, and it's a completely different part of Maryland. So I was already getting acclimated, and it was kind of hard anyway. And then I won, and I was like, oh, wow. So I have to be here, here, and here in the next week, and I have to do my work, and I have to maintain some type of social life, so I have friends, and I have to talk to my parents and do all this stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to invest in a lot of coffee and try to stay up. But it really has taught me a lot about managing my time, which is the most important thing I think kids learn at their freshman year of college, is managing your time. Because I can tell you, in high school, I didn't know how to manage my time like I do now, and that really would have helped me do a lot better. So I think that's the best skill that you can get out of pageants while being a state title holder, is learning how to manage your time, how to get yourself up on time. I have some I have trouble with that, but I still have learned a lot about setting alarms, getting everything organized, and especially with homework. And in college, there's a lot of meticulous time to do work, so you really have to delegate what you're doing while you're a state title holder.
Yeah, so like she said, there's so much that goes into being a title holder, and you want to do everything you possibly can to make your state proud and make everyone else proud, because it's such an honor to carry this title, and so many people would love the opportunity, that we were thankfully granted. So you don't want to disappoint anyone, and you only have 1 year, you only have one shot. Like I said, once you win, you only have one chance, and so you want to make the best of it. So you really do have to just kind of figure out how to manage your time, how to wake up early. I also have a problem with that. And you kind of learn, and you kind of figure it out. People think that we, wake up whenever we want. We have a hair and makeup team roll in, and then they drive us and chauffeur us around. That's really not what it's like. You have to learn how to do your own hair and makeup like we did today. You have to learn how to drive around the state through the tri-state area. If I've driven to Maryland as Miss New Jersey. You kind of have to figure it out. And yeah, it might seem like a lot at times. You're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do all of this? I have to be in 10 places in 12 hours. And you discover that you really can do it, and it's really possible. And she's not done with her year yet, but I can assure you that when you feel like it's not going to happen, it'll happen. And you kind of just take those skills and you make them work for you throughout your life. So this won't be the only time that you will feel like there's a lot on your plate. This is not the only time that you're going to feel like I have too much going on and I don't know what to do. So it really teaches you to sit down and kind of map it out, and nothing is impossible. If you want to do it, and you want to be a title holder, and you want to get your degree, and you want to have a job, and you want to do all of these things at the same time and volunteer your time, whatever time you can find, it is possible to do it. You just kind of have to learn how to manage it correctly.
So that brings me to another question then, is what's a typical day or week or month as a pageant title holder?
So the past couple 3 months for me have been absolutely insane, and I love it because I'm personally I love being busy. It's my favorite thing. I don't like to sit around. I'm not the type of girl that just likes to sit around and watch TV. I can't do that. I haven't watched TV since I was 15. I don't have time. But a typical day usually is I'll come home, do my homework, go to the library, see my friends, try to work in dinner, eat sometime in that. And I go to school, so I have to go to a dining hall, so I have to travel to eat every day. And then I try to do my homework, map all that out, and then usually I'll have to wake up around 6 and drive to an appearance. So I set up my class schedule this year just Tuesday, Thursday classes. That way I could do appearances on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, which is the best thing that I've ever done in my life, because last semester I had so much trouble trying to figure out classes. Because in college, you can't just not go to class. You have to show up. So keeping that in mind, I did everything that I had to do to get a good schedule to work out with my appearance schedule. But so typical day, I'll wake up. The last 5 Mondays I've been out of the state in New York or New Jersey. It's crazy. It's insane. So I'll get up at like 5, drive myself wherever I'm going, get breakfast on the way, and go wherever I'm going, go home, do more homework, go to class Tuesday, Thursdays, and then usually I take Wednesdays off because I'm tired. And then Fridays I do appearances at my local libraries and at the soup kitchen. And through my platform, I've actually been trying to go to a school in every county in Maryland. So trying to figure that out has been a good test course in scheduling myself. And then the weekends, I usually do more homework and then do more appearances.
So kind of like how she ran it down, that's kind of what a pageant girl's schedule kind of sounds like usually. So when I was Miss New Jersey, I was still at Temple as well. So I was also in college at the time in Philadelphia. So I would be driving back and forth from New Jersey to Philadelphia all the time. You know, and then getting ready for Miss USA is a huge deal. You're at Miss USA for 2 weeks.
Wow.
It's not like a weekend you're packing a bag and you're leaving. It is a huge ordeal. You're packing like 60 outfits. You're designing a gown. You're meeting with your coaches to perfect those interview skills, perfect, you know, who are you? Like figuring out who you are is a huge part of not only, you know, winning your state title, but also trying to get yourself to the nationals, and you have to explain who you are. Sounds really easy, and people can ask you like, what's your favorite color? And you're like, oh my God, I don't know. What's my favorite color? And so things that you really should know, you don't know. And it makes you sit down and dig deep. So a lot of our preparations for nationals is sitting down and figuring out who we are and what our opinions are on things. It's not what your opinion is. It's about having an opinion. So that takes a lot of time, a lot of preparation. So getting ready for Miss USA or Miss Teen USA is a huge part of what we do. And, you know, the community service aspect, like she said, and I also love helping people. So we try to fit that in as much as possible. So yeah, it's a lot with schoolwork and family, and there's always something going on in everyone's life, but you kind of make it work, and the schedule is always different. It's not, you know, this week is going to be like next week. It's always a changing schedule. So you have to kind of keep on your toes.
So you said family, and that's a big thing. Is your mom and dad involved in this whole process? Does your family get involved in this?
I would say my family is experiencing it all with me. I mean, my mom lives 5 hours away from where I live at Salisbury, but usually when I have appearances, she'll drive me and meet me and drive me part of the way because she just feels bad because I'm always tired. But yeah, they are the best kind of family, and it's awesome because you have that great support system, which is what you really need as a title holder, because it's a hard year and it's hard to do by yourself. And I know I've had a lot of growing up to do this year, and that's really what I learned how to drive in New York. I learned how to drive in DC. I got lost in Chinatown. Like it was an experience, and I think that was the best part of being Miss Maryland Teen USA is I really learned what it's like to be an adult, and that was my favorite part of this year, was that I really learned like, oh, well, my parents aren't going to wake up and drive me here because I live by myself 5 hours away and I'm alone here in Salisbury, Maryland. No, but that's the best part about my family is that they do meet me, and it's awesome, and I love them, and they're the best at supporting me in whatever I do.
Yeah, so family is a huge part in this whole thing, whether you're a teen or a miss. You can't really do this without your family. My family was a huge part of my year. I have a 16-year-old brother. He was younger at the time, but and my mom and my dad. Always ready, like, you know, it'll be midnight or 1 in the morning and I'm trying to figure out what to wear to my 2 appearances tomorrow, and I have to change in between. You know, your brain kind of just starts to shut down at some point, and you're like, everyone helps. So we have like a family meeting about what I should wear and how I'm going to get to point A to point B in this amount of time. And, you know, so as a miss, you kind of take yourself places more, and sometimes I kind of wanted to take my mom, but then you realize, you know, you are an adult and you kind of have to figure it out. And so, but having a family that supports you is really, really important, because getting to Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, or doing all of these appearances and not having an emotional like backbone is really hard, because it does get overwhelming. You kind of just need someone to tell you, hey, you're doing a good job and it's going to be okay. So having them there is really important.
So we're coming to the end of our show. And usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the parents and their daughters that want to go into pageants? What advice do you want to give to them?
The best thing that I can ever tell anyone is to not be intimidated by the way it sounds. Because I think going into the weekend, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so scary. Like, I have to have all these things. But in reality, it doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's more about what's inside that matters. And it's not about how much your dress costs. And that was my biggest thing when I told people who are going to potentially compete is it doesn't matter if you don't have the money to buy a dress, because it's not really about the dress. It's about you wearing the dress. So that's the biggest thing that I want to express to everyone, is that it's so easy to reach out and start. You can reach out to any former or current title holder. They'll be happy to help you. We are all so passionate about this organization that we would talk to anyone endlessly about competing, because we love it. And that's the biggest thing that I could tell someone, is to not be intimidated by the money situation or the time, because it's super feasible and you get great results out of it no matter what you do.
I totally agree with everything she just said. My biggest thing is to just, if you ever think about doing a pageant, or you haven't and now you're listening to us and you're thinking about doing one, please do one. It is the best experience. Losing too, I've lost many times, so I can say that. It is the best experience. You learn so many life skills. You learn how to be confident. You learn how to interview. You learn how to portray yourself in the best way possible. You make the best of friends. You learn how to make a bad situation better. You learn how to help people. It is the greatest thing that I've ever done in my entire life, and I totally wish I can go back and wear the sash again every day. And so I would just say, just do it.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.